in the nature of ever-changing, impermanent nature. And if we don't understand and accept that impermanent nature of ever-changing, it can be difficult and not easy. But if we recognize that nature and we accept that as it is, it can make us more easy, better dealing with those changes. Knowing that is what it is. And in order to understand and have this awareness of ever-changing impermanent nature, we have to contemplate, meditate more deeply and continuously. And if we can develop that strong awareness when things happen, changes happen, it will not surprise, shock us, not make us unprepared. It will not make us so difficult. And that awareness can help us to reduce, fear, worry, anxiety, strong desire, anger, resentment, and so forth. And in order to have that kind of deep awareness or the realization of impermanent, we need to contemplate, meditate. And for the success of the meditations, we need the blessings of the gurus and Buddhas. And for that, we have to learn more about those practices. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the talk. Not only listen, if I find anything helpful, beneficial, I will try to integrate in my life as much as possible. May all of us coming here together to listen and to engage in a discussion, reflection, contemplations. May all of that become cause and conditions to fully awaken us or to obtain fully enlightened state so we can be greatest help and benefit to all sentient beings, including oneself. Okay, so we can do that.
Just the prayers.
Okay, praise to Shakyamuni Buddha.
To
The founder.
the Lord God is come, the Lord is Lord, the daily required fully enlightened being, perfect knowledge and good conduct, to God the power of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the chocolate land. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, making an out transcendent destroyer, the one God beyond, the fullness destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata in all the world, supreme guide of human beings to tame, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shocking land. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge.
To the
Founder,
founder,
making out transcendent destroyer, the one God beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata in all the world, supreme God of human beings to tame, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the chocolate land. I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge.
Let's do, where's the refuge and bodhicitta first, and then do that.
do the mandala offering now.
We're gonna do refuge and bodhicitta first, and then do the mandala.
I'll
Sorry.
use there one.
Okay.
So we'll be taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. Once in
Okay.
English and twice in Tibetan. I go
for refuge until I am loved, to the good of the Dharma, supreme assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha and help benefit all sentient beings.
We're going to be doing the mandala offering in Tibetan.
You know, I'll hold everything with this.
Yeah. So some of you might be wondering what was happening. I think many of you have seen it and know. That's what we call mandala offerings. And it symbolizes offering the universe, the body, speech, and mind. So at the very beginning, where there is with the 5 things that symbolize the universe, the center and the 4 continent. And then next there was the statues that symbolize the body, then the text that symbolize the dharma or the speech, and then tupa that symbolize the mind. So it's offering body, speech, and mind. And traditionally, that's what we do. And again, it follow when Buddha was first requested to teach. He didn't teach after his enlightenment, for 49 days until he was requested to teach. And then when they request him to teach, they offer that and then requested him. So it's kind of keeping that kind of traditions that we do. And as Buddha himself taught his disciples, that normally, you don't teach unless you have been requested, and so you just can't just go and that preach and teach everywhere unless there was some request. And so it's keeping that kind of the tradition, continuity of the traditions. That is what what we just did, in our Tibetan monastery that we do every time we have teachings. Here we try not to do so much, taking times, maybe at the very beginning and then maybe at the end. Sometime we do, yes, but yeah. But in the monastery, every time there's teachings, we always do that. Okay, so coming to the topics, what we have been discussing last week and continuity of this is, Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, and we talked a little bit about who Lama Tsongkhapa is. Of course, he's the founder of the lineage that we follow, but also I spoke about a little bit about his qualities, a little bit, and we also talk about what guru means, spiritual teacher, mentors, the importance of that, again. And we also spoke, there are 2, inner guru and external guru. The inner guru is your own realizations, when you have that, your own, highly developed wisdom and highly developed compassion, both the mind and other spiritual realizations, then that can be your guru, that can be the one that guides you, But again, in order to develop that inner guru, that where you can trust and follow that with competence, then at the very beginning you rely on external spiritual mentor or guru. By relying on the outer spiritual mentor or guru, then and then through the practice, then we develop the inner guru within ourselves. And once we have the inner guru within ourselves, then we can kind of rely on that, and so that we talk about that a little bit last week, and in terms of the guru yoga practice here, formal kind of Guru Yoga practice. We are going through this particular Guru Yoga practice that was given by Lama Tsongkhapa himself to his disciple when he was requested. And then at the very beginning, it will pass more orally. And then later, well, then to Nakpa, that one teacher, then he actually started to write it so that it doesn't get lost. The first Dalai Lama, who was the direct disciple of Lama Tsongkhapa, he had in one of his writings, there's a mentioning of that, but he doesn't go any details. The mentioning of that. So at the very beginning, it was not so commonly kind of practiced so openly. It was more orally passed, and it was done more secretly. And then later it was, more passed, written that. So we are doing that particular, because there are many Guru Yoga too, and even with the relation Lam Tsongkhapa. And that, it starts with the preliminary practices, refuge and bodhicitta, four immeasurable. And then the actual practice itself, then it starts with the invocations. We went through that last week. And again, as I mentioned before, in many of those practice, sadhanas or the practice, there is invocations. Then again, as I was saying, the Buddha is always there, whether you invite or not. As it is said, Buddha's mind is on everywhere. Wherever Buddha's mind is, Buddha is there. So he's everywhere. It's just that due to our obscuration, we cannot have access to them. So even when they don't invoke, they are always there. But the way our mind works is if we visualize invoking them, and then we visualize coming them and being present of them, we feel more comfortable. And it's more to do with our mind, So again, that is one we have to understand how those works, what it really means. And then you start with a 7 limb practice, and we talk a little bit, the 7 limb practice, some of them as purification, some of them accumulation of the merit, and then some of them multiplying, increasing, mostly purification and accumulation of merit, those practice. And it is just as when we use all our limbs, we are able to function better. When there is one limb missing, then we are more challenged, difficult, to function fully. If your one leg missing, one of your arms is missing, or 2 legs are missing, 2 arms are missing, then it becomes more challenging to do things fully, what you want, And so the same way, when all the 7 limb practice are practiced together, then we have better result in our practice. When some of those limbs are missing, then again, it becomes more difficult. So that is the 7 limbs. And here it starts, request to remain for a long time. That is first limb. Normally, in most others, it starts with prostrations, first practice of limb, then offerings and confessions or purifications, and then rejoicings, then turning the wheel of requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma, and then requesting to remain until the samsara ends, until each and everyone is liberated, and then dedications. Here, requesting come first. So again, they say it's for auspiciousness. So the sequence is slightly different than normal in most of the sadhana that you see. Here it starts with to remain for long times. I will just go through the verse. I don't think you have, but again, you can find, in the websites. in the sky before me on the line throne. So that's what you visualize, lotus and moon. My perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. So, you visualize Lama Tsongkhapa, his two spiritual sons on the throne, and top of the throne, there is the lotus, and top of that, there's the moon cushions on top of that. Lama Tsongkhapa is your, if you have any guru, if you have guru, and if you have many guru, then the root guru in the form of Lama Tsongkhapa here. If you have one guru, then you visualize that is your guru, but in that Lama Tsongkhapa form here. And if you don't have guru, then you just visualize Lama Tsongkhapa, see him as a guru. So if you're doing this practice, but if you don't have a kind of physical guru, any physical guru, then you can just visualize him as a guru in that, and then, again, as it is shown, like wearing the monk's robes, if you want to do clear visualize the way he looks, then in the teaching mudras, that's what I call teaching mudras, and then holding the lotus stem, and then the lotus goes here, and on the right side, on top of the lotus, there is a wisdom sword that symbolizes the wisdom, and then the left side of the lotus, there is the scriptures, the text, the Prajnaparamita text. Or like for when you are meditating on particular subjects, you can think of text on that, that particular text. But normally it's the Prajnaparamita Sutra. So holding that and in the teaching mudra and the cross legs, and as it said, smiling, looking with the compassionate eyes, so you try to, and with a delight, so you visualize, that as a merit field, to create merit and to purify in relation to that, And then we make requests, to abide, for 100 years is just a number, It's not a specific, it's just keep. Basically what you want to request them to abide until each and every sentient being is liberated. In some others, it says as long as samsara, until samsara ends. A different way of putting the word until samsara ends, or until each and every sentient being is liberated, as long as it's needed. So however, it can be different word, but basically requesting. And again, the reason we do is, from their side, like Buddhas, from their side, they are always there to be there as long as sentient beings there. If they are always there from their side, why we need to make this request? So again, it's to create the connections, from creating connection from outside. And when you have more stronger karmic connection, you are able to get more. As we discussed last time, So to create the karmic connection as well as to create merit, From their side, whether you request or not, they're always there. But then why you need to do that? And then that it's like, let's say a child and parent. The parents are always there from their side, wanting to be their help. Whether the child asks or not, they're always there to help when they need help. But when child asks, when they need help, when they ask, then that makes a stronger kind of connections, and it creates different environments. It's same someone who has problem with addictions. Maybe there is people in their life who are willing to help them anytime, all the time. But from their side, they have to ask for that in order to really have change. If from their side they don't ask for a request because they don't feel they need it, the other person try to help, it doesn't help. A lot of time that is what it is. You can take them to rehabilitation, you can do all those different things, but unless it comes from their heart, the wanting to change and asking for that help, because they really want to change from their heart, it's very hard to change, give up. But once that comes their heart, then that is where real transformation happens, really change starts. And similarly, that's what from our side, we appreciate the importance of them, and therefore we request them to abide and help myself and all sentient beings. And so that is, so that's why we make the request, for that purpose. And also it is said, that it is all of those practice are not kind of, sometimes people have misunderstanding that it might seems like kind of some kind of, physical kind of ritual things. They don't see it as a part of mind training. If you don't understand that, then you might not feel it is a part of mind training. You might say it is just kind of some kind of ritual, some kind of ceremony, some kind of tradition, cultures. But if you really understand and if you do from the depth of your heart, then it's mind training. And when you request, because you really appreciate, you really understand the importance of that, and therefore you request them to remain for long times, then it becomes antidote any kind of negative thoughts we might have towards the Guru. Any kind of bad feeling, negative feeling that we might have towards the Guru, it becomes antidote to that. If you have bad feelings, negative feelings, and you don't appreciate it, then you wouldn't make those requests from your heart. When you make sincere requests from your heart, that means you appreciate them. You see the importance of them. You see their, and so they, in that sense, then it becomes, it helps to reduce those negative thoughts, bad feelings, especially in relation to the, Guru. So then next come prostrations, Prostrations is kind of homage, bound down, practicing humility, humbleness. There are many Buddhist community, they are different. The way Tibetan does, the way Chinese does is slightly different. But basically, however you, maybe even in Thailand, the way they do, they might be slightly different, the way they prostrate. But the essence is the same. In the essence, it's the same. Is you respect that being to whom you prostrate, you appreciate, respect, and regard them highly, and you kind of bow down, however way, physically, mentally, and then it's a sense of practice of humility, So it is a practice to practice humility, to reduce sense of arrogance and pride, the feeling, why should I bow down to someone else? And we find it hard to bow down and prostrate to anyone, Why I find challenging and difficult to prostrate someone or bow down to someone, because of my ego, because my arrogance. My ego says, wait a minute, why should I bow down? who is he? Who is she? You know. But when someone bow down homage, not just a traditional, just doing that, but from your heart, then it's really a practice of humility. Of course, how we bow down, how we prostrate, different cultures have different way of doing it. It's not same way all the time. But the main thing from your heart, you regard that being highly, you regard they are more supreme, better, and therefore you practice this bowing down that in a sense, and so that become that is the practice of practicing humility, and the quality of humility is very good qualities to have. If you compare arrogant and humility, which two qualities you want to have, which is helpful, healthy qualities, the humility quality is better than arrogant qualities. And that's the way we try to, part of this is part of that too, to reduce that arrogant and develop more humility qualities. In terms of the word itself, it says, your holy mind has intelligence that understands the full extent of object to be known. So by remembering the quality of the mind, your mind is so profound and intelligent that you understand all that need to be understood. Your holy speech with its excellent explanation is a ear ornament to those of good fortune. And then remember the quality of a speech, the speech is very soothing, very clear, in whatever explanation, clear, clear your doubts, any doubt you have, it's solved and it's clear through your speech. So all this, sometimes they talk about 60 melodies quality of speech. So, that kind of speech, your holy body is radiant, beautiful, glory, renown, and also by recollecting the quality of the body, the quality of the body of enlightened being is, because of that body is not ordinary body like us, but it is a result of their spiritual realizations. And so when you look at that, even just looking at that, it makes your mind calm, peaceful. Whatever you feel angry, upset before, and when you look at that, you just have that quality to calm down your mind. That is the quality of the Buddhas. I've heard from many others, not even Buddhists, who have felt that. And some of them, I had one friend, she said she was going through divorce, very difficult, and with a small baby, grown, and she was struggling a lot of. And she went to one of those nursery close by, and she saw the Buddhas. They were selling statues, a stone of Buddha. And somehow when she looked at it, it gave him so much peace. She was going through so much. And she really wanted to bring it home because she felt that it will also help her daughter, who is also going through so much because of that divorce, and not a easy divorce, and sometimes it can be very ugly, And so she brought it home. And she wasn't Buddhist, she didn't know Buddhist much, but just by seeing it, that somehow she felt that energy soothing, calming her mind. And then, eventually, slowly, it opened up her towards the Buddhism, as well as her daughters. But the starting point of that, because just by looking at that, and we are talking about just a statue of the Buddha, not real Buddha, even that has such an effect, of just like that, And I remember also, the statue in vodka, when I was doing some practice, and every morning, early morning, we would go inside and to pay the homage, respect, little offerings, and do little practice and just look. It is a small place, so you can't stay all the time. You need to give opportunity to others to do. But like you don't want to leave, you don't want to leave that space. You have to remind yourself, you have to give space for someone else. You have to live, but there's such a power in that when you look at that face and that statue in that face, there's some kind of very soothing, some kind of energies, and so that is so anyway, so here by remembering that is, the incredible quality of the body, speech, and mind, and enlightened quality of that, then to you who are meaningful to see your body, to hear your speech, and remember your remember your inner mental qualities. I prostrate, and so that is the prostrations. And prostrations is also a way to purify as well as to accumulate merit. And then next comes the blessing and the offerings, the offerings. And in terms of the verse here, pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light, scented water, and so forth. Ocean of cloud like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated. I offer to you the supreme field of merit. So if you can try to arrange the offerings, however you can, minimum. In Tibetan, traditionally, we have a water bowl, 7 water bowl. This very. It is not only Tibetans. Actually, it was Adishas. Adisha once mentioned, in Tibet, you have such a clear and so nice water, with such a pure water, How come you don't use that for offense, Even encourage and mention about that, So anyway, here you mentioned, so that those 7, sometimes 8, and those symbolize, again, is traditionally in India, when you invite a special guest for a meal, lunch, dinner, whatever, special meals for a special guest. And that is how, before you enter the house, you wash feet, and then you have drinking water, Then there's flower gardens. They greet with flowers gardens. Nowadays here, you just give the flower, bunch of flower. But in India, there's a gardens of, you greet them with, so that is flowers. So they're washing water, drinking water, flowers, incense. The area where it's serving, they make an incense, so it's a nice smelling, Then light, you don't want to eat in the dark, so there is a light, light. And then the perfume, scent, nice scent. And then 7 is the food, the actual food, the actual feast. Those are the 7. And sometimes you see 8 of them, then that is the music. The last one's the music. When there's a music, then 8, And so then while you are enjoying the feast, there will be live music going on. So that is how they will offer feast in that way. So it symbolizes that. So that in that way, have the 7 water bowl, symbolize that. And so also here is what is mentioned about those. So you can arrange whatever you can, water, flowers, incense, light, food, whatever, whatever you can. And even you cannot arrange in actual, you can also mentally create and imagine whole space full with drinking water, full with washing waters, the flowers, incense, light, and all of that, and then mentally offer it. Again, for the Buddhas, enlightened beings, from their side, there's no difference either you make offering or you don't make offerings. It's not like they are going to be more happy and they are going to be more blessing if you make offerings, and that they are not going to help you, they are not going to bless you if you don't make offerings. That's not how the enlightened beings Buddhas are. As is mentioned, for Buddhas, someone is trying to make offerings, praise him from one side, another is trying to criticize him, trying to hurt him. His love, compassion equal. His love, compassion equal. There's no difference. Then why we make all these offerings? Is for ourselves, to train our mind, to give, to let go of clinging, grasping, is training our mind, and especially in those kind of practice, whether you arrange or whether you visualize, you try to offer, especially those objects that you are very attached to. So it's one way is training your mind to let go and not hold on to any objects, learning to be more generous, more openings, to be able to let it go. On the same time, to create merit, and merit is the conducive condition that we need. And as I mentioned, we need that merit or conducive conditions for growth or for progress in our spiritual path, as well as we need to be help and benefit others. It is needed for your own spiritual growth, your spiritual realization, as well as it needed to be more help and benefit. And so therefore, so that is to create merit as well as to train to let it go, not having a grasping to the object and not being stingy and, miserliness. So it is an antidote towards that, the mind of miserliness, So that is the third one. And the fourth one, the confessions or purifications, We have, as I mentioned before, we have difficult of having spiritual realizations because of, interference, negative karmas, or obstacles, internal obstacles. And we need to clear that. And that is the purifications of. So in terms of the work in that, whatever non-virtues of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows, if those who have taken vows, the Prakamosha vows, the lay vows, or what you call self-liberation vows, whether it's the monks, nuns vows, as well as the lay vows, and then both sort of vows and tantric vows. Those are three vows. If anyone had taken them, some might have taken all three, some might have taken two, some might have taken one, some might not have taken any of them, but who might engage in unwholesome action through body, speech, and mind, such as taking the life of others, stealings, lying, engage sexual misconduct, lying, engaging in harsh speech, divisive speech, and meaningless gossips, and in terms of mind, ill will feelings, covetousness, wrong view, so forth, So that I've collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. So, we try to remember, recollect whatever we can, and many of them we might not be able to recollect, remember, but whatever we can remember, not remember, and then try to from your heart, whatever unwholesome actions, negative actions that I might have created that harms others and myself to the body and speech and mind. Now I understand those are harmful. Now I understand these are unwholesome. Now I understand those are not meaningful, but those are unwholesome. I recognize that. I acknowledge that. I regret that. And then with that strong regret, also making strong resolution that I will not, try all my best not to create same mistake, same unwholesome actions, and cultivating that strong resolutions, and then engage in whatever virtuous actions and, refuge in Bodhicitta, and then engage in whatever virtues to purify. And so that's the purifications, and it's purified. And then rejoicing, that is the fifth. You stop for much learning and practice in the degenerate age. So, Lama Tsongkhapa, if you read his life, he studied so much, and you can see from his writings. He not only studied with his teacher, he studied and read all the Tibetan commentaries, not only that he studied all the Indian commentaries. You see, in his writings, especially those philosophy writings, he quote all those different Indian pandits and different, if there's a differences, what are the differences? If they are same, what are the differences? He will go through all of them. Then at the end, he will say, this is what I think, or this is what I believe, or this is what I. So with that, you can see he has studied all that. He's very knowledge in all this Indian, early Indian, so that is how much he have learned and practiced in this journey. And made your freedom richly meaningful, by abandoning the eight worldly concerns. Eight worldly concerns are, attachment to wealth, attachment to praise, attachment to reputation, attachment to, pleasure, and then aversion to the opposite of that, aversion to losing the wealth, aversion to the criticisms, aversion to the bad reputation, aversion to the, pain and sufferings. Those are the eight worldly concerns. But as he said, Lama Tsongkhapa, he abandoned all of that. And thereby making meaningful, not being polluted by any of the eight worldly concerns. Again, if you read his biography, at that time he was invited by the empire of the China, very strong, very rich. He invited Lama Tsongkhapa to come and become his spiritual mentor, teachers. And he sent, the empire didn't come himself, but he sent with many offerings and the request and all of that. Lama Tsongkhapa ran away. Because he was not interested in that. He ran away. So they didn't even meet him, even couldn't meet him. Again, after second time, they came again with same kind of request and that. And again, Lama Tsongkhapa was not interested. He was not interested in this being a mentor of this very powerful empire, wealthy, and which means if he becomes, he will have all the powers, wealth, all of that. But he was not interested in any of them. And he was again ready to run. And then some of his around, friends, colleagues and or students, maybe it might not be so good not to acknowledge and, and so second time he met them, and then he sent a message, I'm very sorry. I will not be able to come. I will not be able to meet, but if you want, I can send one of them, one of his disciples. And then, they requested that, and then he sent the one who found Sherab Monastery, one of his main disciples. So the one who found the Sherab Monastery, then he became the kind of the teachers, spiritual teacher of that empire. And so every year in Sera, we had one ceremony. And during that ceremony, the abbot wear kind of fancy, sleek cloth and a black hat, given by the empire at that time, in the old times, still. And His Holiness says, you don't need to do that. And so they don't do any more that, So anyway, so that is what abandoning the eight worldly concerns. Savior, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds, and then by recollecting, remembering all the deeds of Lama Tsongkhapa, Guru Lama Tsongkhapa, your own gurus, we try to rejoice in them, feeling great, happy, rejoicing. So we rejoice in the virtues and positive deeds of Lama Tsongkhapa, your guru, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhat, those who are on the path to the Bodhisattvas path, those who are on the path to Arhat. We rejoice to the virtues of all the ordinary beings. And we rejoice the virtue of our own virtues. As it is in King of the Prayers, rejoicing into the virtues of high beings, So, yeah, which are like Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhat, those who are on path to Arhat, and then the ordinary beings. And those are rejoicing in other virtues. And we try also rejoice your own virtues. And it's good to do your rejoicing your own virtues, they say. Good. I always say, I feel rejoicing your virtues, especially for the Westerners. Especially for the Westerners, because Westerners, maybe it's the modern world, seem to be more harsh on themselves, seem to have more negative image of themselves, more low self-esteem, self-loathing, self-hatred, that problem more in the West. In the East, we have the other problem, cherishing too much yourself, and not being critical of yourself. Maybe you might be critical of others, but not critical of yourself. In the West, there's too much of self-criticals, critical others as well as too much, And so because you focus on your shortcoming, your weakness too much, we all have our own weakness. We all have our own faults. We all have our own shortcomings because we are unenlightened beings. Ordinarily, we are trying to be better, but we are still ordinary sentient beings who still have a lot of delusions, a lot of shortcomings. But sometimes we focus just too much on that, and then you started to build negative image of yourself. Or I'm too selfish, or I'm so this and this. And then you create in your mind very kind of, very negative. And then that's when you started to feel self-hatred, self-loathing, and all of that. So to counter that negative mind, you consciously need to rejoice in your virtues, because we forget that. We have done good things and bad things. We have bad thoughts and good thoughts. But when we have good thoughts, we forget them easily. The good things we do, sometimes we get easily. Something bad thing we did, we don't forget them easily. Bad thoughts come, we don't forget easily. So therefore, whenever you have some positive thought, recognize that, oh, at the moment I'm having this nice thought, positive thought. How wonderful. How wonderful, grateful. You know, oh, I have this thought wanting to help. Even you didn't help, but at least even that having that thought is wonderful. Maybe you are unable to help. Maybe you got distracted, or maybe you're too busy, or you might have been, you don't have a resource, or you, whatever. But at least you had a thought of wanting to help. Recognize that. That's a wonderful thought. That's a virtuous thought. How wonderful it is. So with, whatever, any positive thought comes, recognize that. Try to recognize, try to hold that, and try to rejoice that. Try to remember that. And same with whatever virtues we engage through body and speech. So you try to rejoice that, and that can be helpful. And rejoicing to others' virtues is an antidote towards, jealousy. Jealousy is that you can't see someone's virtues, whereas rejoicing, you are happy for them that they engage in their virtues. So it's a two opposite mind. So when we learn to rejoice in other virtues, then we don't feel bad in terms of jealousy and feel bad for their virtues, but instead you feel good for them, and which is good for you too, to have that kind of mind instead of jealousy. And then 6.1, request to turn the wheel of Dharma, and again, here, perfect pure holy Guru from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of Dharmakaya, please let the fall of rain on profound and extensive Dharma upon receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. So again, requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma or to teach according to the needs of each and every sentient being's individual needs. That's very important. Always profound teaching are not always profound if you are not ready. Profound practice are not always profound for everyone. Some are not ready for that. So for some, they need a very basic foundation. For some, we have already worked that basic foundation that need a little bit more advanced, more profound. Those who have already been ready, more. So the teaching, the practice should be given according to the needs of those individuals. Just as the doctor would treat the patient according to their needs, their body needs. Because this meditation is most precious, expensive, and it's good, it doesn't mean it will be helpful for everyone. And so that is the request, to turn to the wheel of Dharma and the reason turn of Dharma so that we can learn, and the purpose of learning, as Lama Tsongkhapa said, is to practice. In Lamrim, he said the very purpose for all this study, learning, is really put into the practice. If you don't put in the practice, then all these learnings and studying have not much so effect. Only when you try to apply, put into practice, then you started to see the changes. And so therefore that. And then dedication, the 7. May whatever virtues I collect, so in terms of the requesting turning the wheel of Dharma, then it is a antidote towards any negative thought we have towards the Dharma. When we request from our depth to request to turn the wheel, then that shows that we appreciate, dedication. May whatever virtues I've collected benefit the teaching of all the transmigrated beings, and in particular may it cause the essence, the perfect pure loss of Taba teaching to shine forever. And this is dedicating whatever virtue we create, we try to dedicate to all happiness of all sentient beings, so not only so it's again another way of practicing to share, whatever virtues, positive energy that we are creating, we try to share with the rest of the all sentient beings. We dedicate for the well-being of all sentient beings. We dedicate to achieve enlightenment so that we can help all sentient beings. We dedicate for the flourishing of the Dharma so that everyone actualize Dharma in their heart, and so they can find the true happiness. So in such a way, we try to dedicate. By dedicating, then it is, also multiplying your virtues. Also, it is a way to protect from being destroyed by anger and other negative energies. Virtues can be destroyed by other negative energies. Just as non-virtues, negative karma can be destroyed through practice such as purification and other practices. In the same way, negative, positive energy and virtue can be destroyed by another. And so when you dedicate in that way, then you protect from being destroyed completely. And then the mandala offerings, and mandala offerings are a very powerful way of creating extensive merit. This ground, another perfume stone and flower adorn the Mount Meru, the proponent, the sun and the moon. I imagine is a Buddha land, and offer it. May all transmigrants being enjoy this pure land. And then here there's a request prayer from Shiv Dalai Lama, which added, may we meet the teaching of victorious one, Losang Thakur, who has the morality of eminently pure way of life, was courageous in extensive contact with son of victorious ones, the also practice, and accomplished yoga of two stages of supreme bliss and emptiness, the tantric practice, who has perfected all this practice of three vehicles. So may we be just like him and actualize all this quality and be like him. And then there is a visualization while you recite the Mixema. Mixema is like the praise to the Lama Tsongkhapa. And while you do that, there are many versions, 9 lines, 6 lines, 5 lines, 4 lines of that, and while you do that, the visualize cleanse by the yeah. In other practice, while you visualize, while you recite the mantra of daily, then you do this visualization. Here, while you recite the Lama Tsongkhapa's name praise, then you visualize that. By the force of heaven, frequently requesting this way, hollow beams of the white lights emanate from the heart of the perfect pure Father and Son, combining into one, enter my crown, white nectar, the color of milk, flow from the opening of the tube of the white lights, cleansing all my sickness, spirit harm, negative karma, obscuration, their imprint without exception. My body become as pure, as clear, as crystal. So while you do that visualization, then you can recite there's the 9 line, and then here also the 5 line. So again, maybe I go to the 5 line, and also you can do the 4 line as well, So first I read the English, and then I will do the Tibetan. Avalokiteshvara, the great teacher of non-objectifying compassion. So the Buddha of compassions. Jade in Tibetan and in Sanskrit, Avalokiteshvara, is the treasure of, is the manifestation of treasure of non-objectifying compassion. Is compassions. Non-objectifying means, compassion that is supported with wisdom, not grasping to the object. So it is the manifestation of compassion that is supported by wisdom realizing emptiness, in other words. objectifying is the grasping. Non-objectifying is the non-grasping. And non-grasping because of the realizing the emptiness. Manjushri, master of stainless wisdom. Manjushri is the Buddha of the wisdom. And, again, stainless can be two. In one, stainless of ignorance, the wisdom that clear the ignorance. In other words, stainless of self-cherishing attitude. And that means the wisdom that is supported by the compassions. So stainless. Stainless of what? What is the stain? And what is the stain is a selfish attitude. It is free from selfish attitude. That's the stainless. So that means the wisdom that has supported by the compassions. And so that's Manjushri. Lord of the Secret destroyed the entire force of maras. And this one is what we call Vajrapani, the blue Buddha, with a Vajra in his hand, and it's again manifestation of all the Buddha's power, who can destroy the entire host of maras, external, internal maras at all the delusion, all the obscurations, From Kaaba, the crown ornament of the stages were laid of snow, and Lam Tsong Kaaba was one of the crown ornament of the Tibet, of the stage. Lam Tsong Kaaba at his time in Tibet, there's hardly anyone who didn't know him. And he was so well known, and all the masters respected him so much, even from all the lineage. He studied with all different lineage. He studied with Sakya, Nyingma, Kagyu, all different here, many teachers. And so Losam Taba is the name of his name. At your feet, I make requests. So that is the 5-line praise of request. And it is said it's a very powerful, these prayers or the praise. Actually, it was Lama Tsongkhapa who offered this praise to one of his teachers. Now it's skipping from my mind the name. It's a Sakya Lama with whom he studied most of the philosophy, especially mathematics. It will come later. So he offered this praise to his teachers. Randawa, Jiddu Randawa. Jiddu Randawa was great master, great scholar, philosopher with whom he studied, and again also great siddhi. So he offered this praise to his teacher, Randawa. And his teacher, Randawa, said, I don't deserve this praise. You deserve the praise. And then instead of Losam Taba, it was Randawa, and Lama Tsongkhapa made it. And then his teacher, Randawa, changed that little bit in the name, and he put Losam Taba. And Tsongkhapa, the sages of Tibet, a small line, and his teacher actually. So that is very unusual, and it shows the quality of the Lama Tsongkhapa, even your teachers, whom you respect so much, and offer this praise to you, and your teachers saying, I don't deserve that, you deserve more than that. You deserve this praise, you deserve that. That shows the quality of such beings. And also because of that, this praise is very powerful in that sense. It's offered by his teachers, who is also highly Mahasiddhi and great. And so that is, so in Tibetan, we make it to make him the Ombudsman and the woman. So when you do the 4 line, then you don't do the third one. Do one more than just somewhere that instead we make to make him almost those those 4 line. So sometimes when we chant the 4 line. With 5 line, then when you chant it doesn't fit very well. In the 4 line, it fit well. So then they skip that, but in your mind, so basically what here, when you recite that, then the way is that, Lamazon Kaba, you have the same qualities of unconditional compassion, just like the Avalokiteshvara. You also possess same qualities of the wisdom like Manjushri. You also possess same qualities of Vajrapani, of the power, and you are the crowns, sages of the snow lines, and I make a request to you. So that is the way. In some visualization, you can even visualize those three deities, at heart, Manjushri at his forehand or the crown, Avalokiteshvara by the speech throat, and Vajrapani by the heart. Also, one can also visualize that. And from all these deities and Lamatsongkhapa, then you try to see your guru, Lamatsongkhapa, all these three deities, they're all same essence, but different form, different aspect. Lamatsongkhapa is Vajrapani is Lamatsongkhapa. Your guru is Vajrapani and Lamatsongkhapa is your guru and Vajrapani your guru and Lamatsongkhapa, all feel the same. Same with Avalokiteshvara, same with Manjushri. And so that is how in this such practice then. And through that, then you can also do the practice of generating the wisdom, 7 wisdom. And again, probably we don't have time to go through that, those visualizations, So I think it is a good to, if you can, try to visualize or try to recite the Mixema as much as possible, 3 times a day, 7 times, 31 times, 1 mala, whatever, and then visualize that and receiving the blessings, inspirations, and then, to become like him who has helped and benefited so many sentient beings at his time, and he continued to help benefit, Through him, still there's so many thousands of monks who study in the depth and then sharing that knowledge to the rest of the world where it is needed. So Lama Tsongkhapa did, even though physically he's normal, but he's still alive. His message and his wisdom still carry on, just like Buddha Shakyamuni's message carried on. So he continued to help benefit indirectly in that way. So he's still in that way. So to make a request while we do those visualization, to be able to be like yourself, Lama Tsongkhapa, to be able to have extensive study like you, to be able to put them into practice and to have actualized those qualities, spiritual qualities in your heart, and then to be able to share out of compassion and skillful means to share those knowledge, those wisdom, those experience with the rest of the sentient beings, so that they can also get free from their own delusion and obscurations and find the lasting happiness. So with that kind of strong intention, motivations, and with that visualization, we try to recite as much as possible. And then you visualize Lama Tsongkhapa, two sun dissolved into yourself at the end, and then imagine, visualize yourself, the Guru, Lama Tsongkhapa, and all this Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrayana, they all become same, inseparable. Saying you are inseparable from your Guru, you are inseparable from Lama Tsongkhapa, you are inseparable from Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrayana. Your mind is inseparable from your mind of the Guru. Your mind is inseparable from the mind of the deity, Lama Tsongkhapa. So because we have the same potential, our mind can become inseparable when we actualize our full potentials. Our mind become inseparable from Lama Tsongkhapa, your Guru, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, they all immerse, become one. We have the same potential, even though we haven't reached that full potential at the moment. But when we engage in this practice, we try to visualize and think that we have reached that point and become inseparable. In that way, again, as I said before, especially again for the West, I think it's good, to see your best side of yourself. This is who you can become, and you already imagine what you are. We haven't reached there, but you can already imagine the best of yourself, right? And so then, and then you do the dedication at the end, whatever dedications, short dedication, long dedication, medium dedication, and then, so yeah, so that is the Lama Tsongkhapa, brief. Okay. So I can take few questions if there's any questions, any problems. Anyone has any questions?
Dedications.
No,
Yes, please.
I wanted to get, you had some, I call them prayers, but dedications, I suppose. And I wish you could repeat them so that I can sort of get them down in my mind better.
Well, there are many dedications, like some of the dedication we do here at the end, may the, due to all the virtues and merit, may achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Yeah.
That is one of the dedications. Another dedications, Sanju Sanju Rinpoche, may the precious Bodhicitta be arising within those who are not arising, those who are already arising, not diminish, but increase more and more. And you can apply that also emptiness, may all sentient beings, including yourself, all sentient beings who have actualized the wisdom realizing emptiness, not actualized, may they arise, actualize. Those who have already actualized, not to diminish, but increase more and more. So you can.
I got the idea.
Yeah. And then, also the one of the Shantideva, as the Lamas, he was, as long as space remain, as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of others. So it's cultivating a strong kind of courageous mind, And so there are so many different dedications that you can find what you find more relatable, that you can actually relate more strongly with and you can use that particular dedications,
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't have to be exactly that. You can have your own dedications, but of course we try to use those dedications because there was written by more enlightened beings. It was not just created by someone, but those dedication was written by more enlightened beings. So therefore we try to use that, but it doesn't mean that you cannot have your own dedications and how you form it. Any others? Yes, Bill.
Just where are you going now? Where will you be?
I'm going to samsara. Samsara.
Samsara.
Yeah. And I'm still going to samsara. Uh, from here, I'm going to California, and then I'm going to Rio and Singapore, Australia, Europe, and Nepal. So for almost a year, I'm gone. Then I'm going to do my retreat,
Really?
personal retreat for
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So that is that is the plan. You never know.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Dennis.
You
Thank-
mentioned two gurus. External.
Mhm.
Would it be possible to, or are you suggesting that it's possible to take as external guru someone who lived hundreds of years ago? As in Lama, Tsongkhapa?
If you cannot find in physical guru in now, where you cannot connect, Islam Tsongkhapa or Buddha Shakyamuni or Nagatjuna, whatever. So of course, if we can find a guru in a physical world at our time, that would be best, because you can have direct communications. If you have any doubt, sometimes even no matter how much we study, if you don't have the experience when you are trying to meditate and practice, there are points where you might not be able to solve. And then someone who have done those practice, who have those experience, can guide and lead you, how to do, what to do, how to change, why you are having this obstacle, why you are having this problem. They can guide you how a little bit change, and that can be the things. It's just, I was giving an example last time, very talented children in different fields, and to get their full potential, they need a really good coach, mentor, who can see them. Even though they're very talented and by themselves, they can achieve a lot. But then when they find the right mentor coach, then how much they can achieve is much. It's similarly like that. Yeah. But if someone struggles, cannot find it, then that can be the case. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thank
you. And so, yeah, and then I think maybe we end. Then I would like to thank everyone again for all the members, especially all those who have dedicated so much for this center organizations. Many of you, some of you I've known for 25 years, since when I first came here, 2001. Since then, I've known, Eloise, Stephen, Stella's, even Adam I met at that time. So since that time, and then some of you I've met for last 2000, since 2013. After that, I've known you for more, and some of you I've met in more recent times, but I feel very strongly connected, I guess, in this place and the people here. I guess maybe also the mountains is keeping me here. As I was saying, they are saying either the mountain embrace you or reject you. And I guess it embraced me. After I left 2003, I never thought I would be back. To start with, I never heard about New Mexico, Taos. No idea when Rinpoche asked me to go here, no idea. where I'm going to be, what this place. But I guess I have some karmic connections with the place and people here. And so that was the first place Rinpoche sent me. And then after being here 2.5 years, almost 3 years, I left. And when I left, I never thought I would come back. And here I am. I came back and already came back. I've been here. And again, again, I don't know what holds after a 3-year retreat. Everything's open. I go with my open mind. I don't have any decision plan to do this, not do this. I just go with open mind for the 3 years, and I will see after 3 years what happens, where it leads. It might lead again teaching here same, or it might lead me to continue to do retreat, or it might lead where only I know at that time. But regardless of what I might do after 3 years, still definitely we will meet for sure. How we meet and in what, that you never know, but definitely we will meet. And I have kind of mixed feelings. I'm excited because this is something that I've wanted to a long time. So in that sense, I'm excited. In a sense, I feel really sad that I have to kind of lead the Sangha, that I've been so close and involved closely for so many years. It's like the child or parent leaving the child or the parent and going far away. It is like, when the child grow up and then leave the place. It is hard for the parent for some time, and to adjust to that new that. And so, in that way, again, I also feel kind of, little bit kind of sad in that way. But again, you have opportunity to hear from more other teachers, instead of hearing from me saying all the time, maybe, it's like everything's when you eat the same food, after some time you get bored, you want something new, new flavor or new dishes, this is what I've been eating all the times. I want some changes, then sometimes the change can excite you and give more inspiration, more kind of, and because again, everyone bring different way, different way of presenting it, and sometimes different presentation can be helpful, to understand the same subject, but when it is presented differently by different teachers, sometimes it also can be helpful to understand certain things that, sometimes more profoundly, more deeply than that. So, yeah, some of you have been so dedicated for those 25 years. You were very dedicated at that time. You were the one who was running the center at that time. When we didn't have your own place, when we were, people they would used to, set up all the altars, and then after the class we will dismantle it, take it down. Every week.
Yep.
Every week, that is what you used to do. And but it's not easy, and for 25 years, not only your practice, continue your practice, but also your dedication for this Sangha, so that it continue to offer the space for people who are interested to come and study and practice, to be able to provide that, and Minerva once said, there is an auspiciousness in me doing the practice meditations, and the benefactor who is supporting me to that to achieve enlightenment together. And so similarly, that is the dedication, the hard work that you put so much to keep this center continue to run. So because then, whoever is interested, whoever need it, they have the space to do that. That kind of dedications. I rejoice, admire, and grateful, thankful, and hopefully you will continue to, sometimes it can be not easy, that same people running for 25 years, hopefully maybe more people will kind of, take more responsibility to keep it running, We usually have many younger here, but then due to the job, they move to Albuquerque, Santa Fe, others. And they are the one men actually who are inside in Santa Fe, Mary, Andrea, Jeremy, Claire, Adam, they all started from here, but they have to move because of the job. And then they continue to study, practice, and then because Santa Fe is more closer to them, some of them when they live in Albuquerque, and also some of them live in Santa Fe now. And so again, they are, continue to kind of help the center there. So again, so regardless of what happens in the futures never known. Everything comes to an end. Even the Buddha's teaching will come to an end at certain time. Even this planet will come to an end at certain time. So nothing is permanent. But so we never know what holds, what happens in the future. But regardless what happens, all the dedications that you have put, all the energy that you have put has helped and benefited a lot of people. Sometimes it's not about how many people show up here. Sometimes it is about what I notice is sometimes people go through a lot of struggle in their life when they come in the Dharma centers. And that gives them some kind of help. And then their problem might be solved, and then maybe they stop coming because they feel maybe, But then when they needed help, most help, the center will offer them that. And because of that, and some of them even they might not come, they carry that what they have learned in their life. And there are a lot of people who get inspirations or study practice from certain group, and they might not be part of group anymore, but they carry what they have learned and they continue to practice in their home. Sometimes in different sangha or sometimes with individually their home. But the seed that they got of that practice came to whatever group they went, and the group that provided them the space and the teaching that helped them to have that seed that they continue to work on. So sometimes we might think, oh, maybe we are not being so beneficial, helpful because it's not so many. But I think that the way it helps can be many different ways, So sometimes we have to remember that, and sometimes not get discouraged because, of course, we would like to have overflow. you know, and then we become overflow. We want to have a double space of this, and then we want to overflow that, you know. But again, sometimes how beneficial, effective is not always based on that. You know, sometimes it really touch someone's life, you know, and even though they might not be involved directly, but it continue to help in their life and many others' life as well. So that's all I wanted to say a few words, and thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And personally, you know, everyone has been so kind, compassionate, caring, and welcoming for me to make comfortable. That's why I'm still here, and that's why I I still you know managed to be here 12 years. If you didn't make me comfortable, I might have run away.
I know, this is silly, but what do you think about the road? I remember you when we were driving back to Santa Fe. You said, "What do you think about the road construction?" You said that you would find the road wouldn't be finished until your next reincarnation.
I think they heard that. The people who are walking, they heard what I said, and they said, we have to prove him wrong. So they proved me wrong. You know, the same with that main highway as well as where I'm in Santa Fe, you know, it was closed
Yeah.
for something even before I came this year, and now it is open. And I was saying same thing, maybe this will open only, you know, and I think they also heard that, and they decided to finish it quickly. Yeah, you know, again, you know, like one time, Lama Solo Rinpoche asked me to go to actually, maybe 4 or 5 years, or even maybe 6 years, or 4 or 5 years, to go to California because they were having a challenging to find a teacher there. One teacher they tried to bring, visa was rejected. He was having difficulty getting visa, and another teachers. So, you know, Rinpoche asked if I could go because there are a few 4 centers, and he said, you know, you could. And then I wrote back to Rinpoche, you know, I said, then I explained the situation of the center here in Taos and Santa Fe, what it is, the possible and what. And then, you know, also about the California Center, because they're much bigger center and they always had the resources to have Geshe and translator, you know, they always had, and, you know, for a long time. And I said, this center doesn't have resource to do that at the moment, you know, maybe in the future, maybe, but at the moment they don't have the resource to have a teacher, Geshe, as well as a translator to provide to people the resources. Whereas the centers in California can do, because that's what they have been doing for a long time. And they have, but if Rinpoche field is most important, I should go there. I will go there, but I just wanted to explain. And so I did that, and then I got a message say, "Oh, okay, you can stay."
Thank goodness.
And so again, that was why because I feel comfortable, very, very welcome, very comfortable here, you know, so that was one of the reason that I wanted to stay here if it's possible. And then, which I said, it's okay. And so that's how, so that happened because, you know, you made me comfortable and with your such a warm heart. And so, again, I'd like to thank And yeah, keeping my heart prayers, always be in my prayer heart, even though we might not be physically see every week for some time, but yeah, I appreciate and thank you. Yeah. So we can do the dedications.
All right, we dedicate the merit from listening to these teachings in the Lama Jason Kappa practice to people on prayer lists everywhere, and for the long life and good health of all of the gurus and lamas, and in particular Geshe Sherab. We dedicate for your long life and good health, and may all your dharma wishes be fulfilled. We dedicate for those suffering obstacles: Wyatt, Gilbert, Branwyn, Kinnikinnick, Taryn A. and Alyssa. For those suffering illness: Jenny, Jana, Bill, Geshe, Jimmy Montoya, Emma, Rolf, Phil, Sarah, Rosemary, and Taryn. And those who have died recently: Patty, Francis M., Bailey Simmons, Greta Simmons, Shelley Campbell, Bradley Campbell, Emma Blackthorne, and Carol Morgan Eagle. Carol Morgan Eagle. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions,
May I quickly attain
the Guru Buddha,
Buddha
and lead all
all
living
living
beings without
beings
exception into that
into that
enlightened
enlightened
state.
state.
May the
The
supreme
supreme
jewel
jewel
of
Bodhicitta
that is
not
not
arisen
arisen
in
in
the
horizon
horizon,
below, and may that which has
which has
risen not
risen not
diminish,
diminished,
but increase more
more
and
and
more.
more.
The wish granting,
Granting wish fulfilling
jewel,
soul,
source
source
of
of every single benefit and happiness in this world,
to
to the incomparably
kind
kind
and
and God's Lord is.
May
May all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled.
For Lamas over Rinpoche's reincarnation. Peerless teacher, assembly of the children of the victorious ones,
Once
Sherab
and practica Buddhist.
along with the lineage masters, all the authors of refuge of infinite lands. Please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Alone in spreading the most precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You are the armor of patience that is never discouraged.
Incomparable, venerable, who may make requests,
While
striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teaching,
the soul
so
gateway
greatly
through which all
to
heaven and happiness emerge. And for
for Mother of the Big Beings, the newly departed to peace.
What
What a great loss.
Nevertheless,
Nevertheless, with the unperceiving truth, blessings of the ocean of the truth,
and the
and the great waves of
Buddhist
Buddhist
of the
teaching of the
children of the
children of the
victorious
victorious
ones.
ones.
May the
May the
smile of
smile of
reincarnation
reincarnation
specifically Lord for fortunate disciples.
Until few months, I was thinking maybe my retreat will be in Nepal, but again, I think the mountains didn't want me to go too far away. So it seems like more likely to be in Santa Fe. Good for us.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who are Zoom. I don't know who's
Thank
on
you.
Zoom.
Thank you.
You have
Thank
Adrian
Thank
and
you,
Jenna
Geshe.
and Laura
Thank you, thank
and
you.
Mary Camille and.
Thank you, Geshe Lha.
An iPhone.
Thank you,
Very good.
Geshe Lha.
Thank you,
Take care,
Geshe Lha.
everyone. Good night.
Geshe Lha.
Safe journey.